What's up, CS? What's up, Greg? I'm just going to give it 2-3 minutes for people to find their way over here that want to. I'm just going to take people a few minutes to move over from TikTok to YouTube. Got 5 people in here. We'll get started shortly. I'm just going to, because once I get started, I'm not going to start over. So I'm going to give people a few minutes to get in here so they can be here at the beginning, okay? And again, for any of you wondering, we're going to be talking about DeFi because DeFi allows us to get passive income. DeFi allows us to passively accumulate Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, stablecoin. It allows us to DCA for free. It's insane. That's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give people another minute or so for them to come in, and then we're going to get started. In the meantime, drop something in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? Did you let me know if you came over from TikTok? Let me know where you're tuning in from. We'll get started shortly. I just want to make sure people get ample time to come in. London, it's awesome. Never been to London. Somewhere I do want to visit though. I'd like to visit England. All right. From TikTok Phoenix. Looks like we got about 10 people on here. The stream's been going for about 3 minutes. I think everyone that's going to be in here is going to be in here. So what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm going to get to it, is we're talking about DeFi, right? This is where we can take our Bitcoin and stablecoin and get a very fat yield. Where we can take our Ethereum and stablecoin, get a very fat yield. Take our Solana and stablecoin and get a stupidly fat yield, right? The Solana one usually pays the most, but I'm a Bitcoin stablecoin guy. So in using DeFi, there's really only 3 things you can do. You can be the bank. That's what I call it, be the bank. Be the house. That wasn't the right finger to use. Be the bank, be the house, be Coinbase, okay? Now, the first 2, be the bank and be the house, they primarily are for stablecoins, right? To get yield on stablecoins. What do I mean by that? That means I put my stablecoins here every day, passively, it just grows into a little more stablecoin. Put a 1 in the chat if you love the idea of passive income. If you love the idea of passive asset accumulation. Put a 1. Make sure you guys can hear me. I want to make sure you're listening. I want to make sure you have a pulse. There we go. So that's what DeFi really does, right? Because right now you probably have some crypto. Right? Maybe you got some Bitcoin, maybe you got some ETH, Solana, maybe you got some stablecoin, but it's just sitting there. Maybe it's just sitting in your Coinbase account or sitting in your wallet. It's not really doing anything. But if you know how to use DeFi, which anybody can learn how to do this, right? But most people are just intimidated by starting. But the thing is once you learn it, you know it. It's way easier than trading, and anybody can do it. I just want to be very clear about that. Anybody can do this, right? Most people will never be a successful trader, period. They will lose their ass. And I've traded a lot, and I'm actually a profitable trader, but I hate trading. Listen closely. Instead of trading, grinding out those gains, which is very active and very stressful, I can instead just put my money over in DeFi, do nothing, be completely passive and non-stressed, and make more. Which would you rather do? Would you rather have no stress and have it be passive and make more money? Or would you rather be active and stressed and make less money? Pretty simple, right? if you've been thinking about trading, I highly suggest you just kind of get rid of that idea and instead completely focus on DeFi. Because what I'm going to show you here is how you can accumulate 100% more Bitcoin, 100% more stablecoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Do I have your attention? But I'm going to start with the two less sexy ones first, but they're still very good and you need to understand them. Be the bank and be the house. We're going to start with be the bank. There's the three strategies. You're going to want to hear all of them. The last one being Coinbase is the most juicy, but we're going to go through be the bank first. So with be the bank, here's how it works. You deposit stablecoin. You could deposit like Ethereum or Solana also, but I primarily use it for stablecoin. You just put your stablecoin somewhere and do nothing. And people come along and borrow it because that's how banks make money, right? They lend money and they get interest. Well, that's what you're doing with be the bank. Let's say you got $1,000 in stablecoin. Let me show you something. Let's say you got $1,000 in stablecoin. This is the PayPal stablecoin. Right now paying about 5%. That's pretty paltry. Maybe I wouldn't want to use that one. Maybe I'd want to use this one over here, right? I could take one of my stablecoins, be making like 7 to 10%, something like that. And I just deposit it there. And people come along and they borrow it and they repay it plus interest. They borrow it, they repay it plus interest. And you're probably thinking, that sounds scary to me. I'm just lending strangers money. You are. But here's what you need to really understand. If I go put $1,000 in there, I can withdraw all of it whenever I want. No fees, no penalties, no bullshit, 24/7, 365. I can just take it all out whenever I want. I can also deposit more whenever I want. Now, if someone borrows my $1,000, before they borrow my $1,000, this is very important to understand. If they borrow my $1,000 stablecoin, before the protocol lets them do that, the borrower needs to put up collateral, right? Collateral is something you put up as insurance, right? So if they're going to borrow $1,000 in stablecoin, they got to provide probably $1,500 in collateral. So if they want to borrow, say, $1,000 in stablecoin, maybe they put up $1,500 of Ethereum or Solana. Cool. Loan approved automatically. I'm just sleeping, eating, playing pickleball, whatever. I don't need to pay attention to any of it. But the protocol says, all right, you've provided enough collateral. Now you can borrow this much. So they borrow $1,000. Now, here's the thing. Here's how you're protected. If the value of that collateral goes down, right? Let's say they borrowed $1,000 in stablecoin. They put up $1,500 in Solana. Well, if that Solana goes down to say $1,200, the protocol will immediately sell that Solana to pay you back plus interest. That's the beauty of a collateralized loan. Do you guys understand that? Put a 5 if you understand that. That if you put money in here, no one can borrow it unless they first put up collateral worth more than whatever they're borrowing. And if that collateral goes down in value, it gets sold off before it gets back to how much they borrowed to pay you back plus your interest, right? And it's all passive, totally hands off. And you can withdraw it whenever you want. No penalties, no fees, no bullshit. And you're just sitting here passively turning your stable coin into more stable coin every day, which is really beautiful for a bear market when you don't know what's going on. And we are in a bear market. We are in a downtrend. So nice place to park your stable coin. In the bank, how much are you getting? 0. You're not really going to find many places on the planet that you can get 7, 10%. And this is a down day, right? We're getting 5.4, 5.8, 5.5. This is a low day, right? These fluctuate based on demand. So be the bank's pretty straightforward, right? You put in stablecoin, you let it just sit there, and it just gets a nice interest rate. And you can pull it out plus your whatever interest you've made whenever you want. You can also add to it, right? Some people take a percentage of their paycheck and just put it in here. Let it sit there and let it just get that interest because it's the best place it can go. It never goes down in value because you're in stablecoin. And it just slowly goes up and up and up and up and up because of the interest, right? Very powerful. So moving on to the next strategy, which is also a stablecoin focused strategy called Be the House. What do we know? Wins. The house always wins. So one of my favorite places to do this, it's got about $82 million deposited in it, And over the last year, it's paid about 40% on stablecoin. So how does that work? How does Be the House work? Works like this. You put dollars in there, stablecoin. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Ugh. You put stablecoin in there. And the gamblers, traders, right? They do longs and shorts, they take on leverage, stuff like that. Traders, those are the gamblers we're talking about. They come in and they borrow your money, right? They borrow stablecoin from that big pool, right? They borrow from this big pool over here to do their leverage. And they pay interest when they borrow, okay? And why this one is paid around 40% over the past year, and the banks were paying more like 8 to 10. The reason this one's paying closer to 40 is because most of the time the gamblers lose. So when they borrow money, right, when you deposit stablecoin, you put it into this pool. Right now, there's about $82 million in there. The traders, the gamblers, borrow money from there, pay a nice interest rate, and over the last year, it's paid about 40%. Now, how's that possible? Well, they're paying a higher interest rate than they would with Be the Bank, but the majority of these gains right here come from the traders losing trades. When they lose a trade, which is most traders most of the time, guess where that money goes? Right into this pool, which means right to you. That is why it's earned around 40% over the past year. Because when they borrow money from that pool to do leverage trading, they pay interest. And when they lose trades, that money is also going to you. So you're the house. You're betting against the traders. When they borrow money, they pay you interest. And when they lose, they're paying you interest and giving you their money from their lost trade. You understand that? Super powerful stuff. And we got one more strategy to get into, but I want to take a temperature check. Give me a 1 in the chat if you're following this so far. Drop any questions that you might have in here before we move on to the next one, which is the most juicy of all. A lot of ones coming in. So you guys are following this good. I try to repeat things so that they land at least one of the times. So already, you've missed out on a bunch not knowing how to do this, right? What's the technical term for the house? What would be the technical term for the house? I mean, you're really being a lender. I mean, you're being a lender because that's really what a casino is anyways. But what would the technical term for this be? I don't know. I think being the house is pretty accurate because you're against the other side of the gambler, and traders are gamblers. Make no mistake about it. So you're really being the house. I don't think I have a better general term for it, or better, clear way to explain it. You're welcome for walking through this. Now, we're going to move on to the next. I want to make sure you understand, right? Now knowing this, if you knew how to use this, you probably would have been using this. Is that fair to say? So the next thing, the thing that I showed you earlier that got you really excited, is something I call being Coinbase, right? I call it being Coinbase. And why do I call it that? Well, let me ask you, how does Coinbase make most of its money? Drop in the comments. How does Coinbase make most of its money? I know some of you know. Greg, King, they both said fees. Exactly right. So every time someone buys or sells Bitcoin, buys or sells Ethereum, Solana, whatever, they pay a fee, right? They pay a fee. And that fee is about 1.5%, and they pay it to Coinbase. Every time they do a transaction, when they sell their Bitcoin for stablecoin, they take stablecoin to buy Bitcoin, or ETH or Solana, whatever, they pay that fee. So what if you could be Coinbase? What if you could be getting those fees? Wouldn't that be wild? Wouldn't that be awesome? That's exactly what I'm going to show you. So over here, right, in this pool, Bitcoin and Tether. Anytime someone sells their Bitcoin for Tether or takes Tether to buy Bitcoin, they pay this little fee, 0.05%. Now, on Coinbase, they're paying about 1.5%. Over here, they're paying 0.05%, 1/30th the fee that they're paying on Coinbase. So as a user, they're happy. And as a liquidity provider, being Coinbase, I'm happy. So every time they do this, right, they pay a fee, a little fee. And over the last 24 hours, that fee has been around 150%. Now, here's the thing that you really got to understand. It's really going to get you excited. That fee, how are they paying that fee? In other words, what are they paying that fee with? Drop in the comments. What are they paying that fee with? No guesses? Probably Tether. That's half right. Greg says stablecoin, that's half right. Half their fee they're paying in stablecoin. That's right. The other half, they're paying in Bitcoin. So that means, since I'm being Coinbase, they're paying the fee in half Tether, in half Bitcoin. Which means, let's say I deposit $10,000 in here, right? If that rate were to keep up, that means over the course of a year, I'd be earning $15,000 in fees, in addition to my $10,000. And that $15,000 would be half Bitcoin, half stablecoin. So that'd be about $7,500 in Bitcoin, about $7,500 in stablecoin. Did your jaw drop? Now, 150% is on the high end. You know, it fluctuates based on demand. I've been doing this quite a while in this particular place that I like to do this. I'd say it averages around 100%, which is pretty fucking good, right? If I put 10,000 in that pool, over the course of a year, I should expect to earn about $5,000 in Bitcoin and about $5,000 in Tether, stablecoin. And I'll still have the money I put in there in the first place. Put a 1 in the chat if you're realizing, let me ask you a question. If you knew how to do this a year ago, how much money, how much Bitcoin and stablecoin do you think you would have made over the past year if you knew how to do this a year ago? There's not a right or a wrong answer. I just want to take a little bit of a poll. It's going to vary depending on how much money you have to work with. But I'm just wondering. Gruss says about 10K. Greg says $1 million. Well, that means you're very well. You're loaded, Greg. I think most people, right? Like if you're actually investing in crypto, I think most people are playing around with at least a few $1,000, right, on the minimum. So, in my opinion, more than likely, you probably have missed out on making at least several $1,000s of Bitcoin and stablecoin just over the last year. Not because you didn't know how to do this. And you wouldn't have had to fuck around with meme coins or all this other shit that probably lost you money. You could have just sat here in Bitcoin and stablecoin and every day have it pay you more and more Bitcoin and stablecoin. I actually call this, I made a term for this. I don't know if someone else did, but it's what I call it. I call it all magnetic investing. And I'm not done talking about it yet, but I call it magnetic investing. And the reason I call it that is because when I put my money here, and I don't have to do anything. Every time someone uses that pool, they pay a fee. And that means that every day, my money sitting there is just drawing in, attracting more Bitcoin and stablecoin. Every single day, I have more Bitcoin and stablecoin than I had the day before. Every single day. I'm a magnet. It's just coming to me. Where almost everybody else in crypto and investing period is chasing, trying to grab, chasing. And I'm just sitting back, being a magnet, drawing in more Bitcoin and stablecoin. And there's no reason you can't do this. You just got to learn how. It's much easier to learn than trading. Trading's almost impossible to learn, frankly, right? And it's very stressful. But this, you just learn how to do it. And then once you know how to do it, you know how to do it. And now it's a skill you have. And you don't have to chase anything because you know every day you're just getting more Bitcoin and stablecoin. Or, you know, maybe you're here. Well, guess what? You're getting some pretty good Ethereum every day. What about Solana? You're getting some pretty good Solana interest rate, right? Solana and stablecoin every day. And frankly, you could be doing all of them. Very powerful to do all this. And it realized how much you could have earned over the last year. Well, guess how much you can earn over the next year? Same thing. And frankly, like, put a 1 in the chat if you do any form of DCA, dollar cost averaging. Put a 1 if you do any form of dollar cost averaging. Greg says 1. I'll bet several of you do some kind of form of dollar cost averaging, right? So every time you get paid, you take a little bit of your money and you invest it. Well, guess what? You can dollar cost average right into this. You can just add to this pool, add to this pool, add to this pool, because what you're doing is you're buying Bitcoin and stablecoin that turn into more Bitcoin and stablecoin. Whereas if you do traditional DCA, you're just buying Bitcoin or buying Solana. But you can buy some Bitcoin and keep some in cash and put it here. You don't need to buy Bitcoin, you just put it in here, and it just grows into more Bitcoin and stablecoin. So it's like the ultimate dollar cost averaging position. There's just so much to this. Because it really comes down to the question, do I want to just hold Bitcoin, or do I want to hold Bitcoin that passively turns into more Bitcoin? Obviously, right? Do you feel, time for another poll, do you feel that this is something that is a high priority for you to learn now? Do you feel that this is a skill that's a high priority for you to now get? Let me know. Because I don't know if I've done a good enough job explaining it. Maybe I got too wordy. No? Okay. Oh, you guys are putting 1s. I see. Yeah. Okay. I get it now. For some reason, I thought you put yes. I should have been more clear. So I agree, right? Because knowing that I can just put money over here and have it just passively grow into more Bitcoin and stablecoin every day. And you see how it works, right? And again, you can withdraw all your money and whatever you've earned whenever you want, 24/7, 365. No fees, no penalties, no bullshit, right? Because these are decentralized protocols. You just click a few buttons. And you can also add to it whenever you want. There's no one to give you permission. There's no credit check or any shit like that, right? You just use it at will. You can pull it all out whenever you want if you want. You can add a ton to it if you want. You can add to it a little bit every week. You can do whatever you want. So I'll say this, right? Because you guys are just like, yeah, you feel like you need to learn it. So the way I see it, you kind of have 2 paths to learn this. Well, you got 3. You could just choose not to learn it and do nothing. I don't think you want to do that path, but it's your choice. You can go off and you can learn how to do this on your own, or you could have someone show you how to do it. Now, if you want to have me show you how to do it, because it's more than I could do on a stream. I can't do a live stream showing you how to do this. It'd be too long, all this stuff. So I do have something that I put together to take you step by step on how to do all of this, right? Going from complete newbie to being able to actually have active positions and learn how to do this. I did put something together, but I need your permission to show it to you, because I don't want to assume you want me to show it to you. Let me know in the chat. Is it okay if I show it to you and walk you through it? Because if not, that's probably the end of the stream, because I don't have a whole bunch more to show you. There's the 3 strategies. But is it okay? Put a 1 in the chat, I guess. Is it okay if I show it to you? I don't want to assume, because some people get like angry, when people show, like, because I have a course, shows you step by step in videos how to do all this. Show you how to use exactly the sites I use, how to avoid a bunch of mistakes, a bunch of pitfalls, how to go step by step as fast, safely, and efficiently as possible. I had a number of 1s and yeses come in, so I assume it's okay now. So I'll walk you through, as soon as I can get it to load, I'll walk you through what it looks like. Let me make sure I pull up the right thing here. The computer's moving a little slow, apologies. So that's not it. So here's what it looks like. And actually, before we even get into the trainings, this is an intro video that I have. I talked to you about best practices, how to get started, everything like that. And I want to be clear, the summation of the intro video is saying, just start with a small amount of money. Because in the beginning, it's not really about ramping up, getting a crap load of money. It's about you building your comfort level and experience level, right? And that gets built up pretty damn quick. But I'm just saying, if you deposit, a little bit, what's $100, $200, $300, you're not gonna be all nervous. Because even when you start doing this, it's foreign to you, so you'll be a little nervous, right? So put in an amount of money that you're not gonna be nervous about. And then what you'll see is that after a day, after 2 days, you'll be like, whoa, you'll see your fees building up. You'll see that you have Bitcoin and stablecoin that you didn't have before. And then you'll be like, wow, and then you'll add to it and let your comfort level grow with it. That's basically the summation of the intro video. But before we even get into the trainings, I actually have a few links that get you up to $100 in Bitcoin. If for some reason you don't have a Coinbase account, this will give you $30 in free Bitcoin. If for some reason you don't have a Gemini account, and I bet most of you don't, this will give you $50 in free Bitcoin. And if you're in the US, you don't have a Fold account, this will get you 20. So before we even get started, this is going to give you probably $50 to $100 in free Bitcoin. Don't skip this stuff. And then we get into the trainings. The first thing is we got to set up the wallets. These are the 2 wallets we really have to use that I show you in this training. This is for the Solana network, the Phantom wallet, and this is for everything Ethereum based, right? And this is the Rabby wallet. And I show you how to set these up, how to keep them safe, how to deposit, how to withdraw, how to do different things with them. But we go through there, and you need to do this in order. Make sure you get those, okay? And then we move on to the trainings, okay? Be the bank, okay? That was the one I talked about before, where we're taking stablecoin and we're just depositing stablecoin. Let me load it up again. And we're getting a yield just on stablecoin over here, right? So that's the whole be the bank, and I have 3 different places that I do that at. Now, I want to be very clear. I've been in DeFi about 7 years, and I've used well over 1,000 protocols at this point. There's only a handful that I actually use, right? There's only a handful that I recommend other people use, and it's not because I'm sponsored by them or I have any interest. It's just as a user, I've been through the gamut, and I know what are the best ones, and those are the ones I show you in this course over here. So there's 3 that I really recommend in the Be the Bank strategy, right? These will get you probably somewhere 6 to 10% interest in bearish times, probably close to 20% yield on your stable coin in bullish time. Videos are all completely step by step, perfect for newbies. If you know absolutely nothing about DeFi, this is absolutely for you. These will take you all the way through step by step how to have active positions, even if you know nothing. And then I move into Be the House. This is where we were talking about betting against the gamblers, right? And one of my favorite protocols has earned roughly 40% over the last year. This is where we're getting interest on stablecoin that the traders borrow, but we also, when they lose trades, we also get that money too. That's why we make a higher yield over on those. And there's only 2 places that I do this at. I take you step by step in those videos. And then we get into the super juice. This is probably what most of you are most excited about, is being Coinbase. I show you my favorite place to earn Bitcoin and stablecoin, my favorite place to earn Solana and stablecoin, and my favorite place to earn Ethereum and stablecoin. Of all the places you can do it, these are my 3 favorite. These are these 3 over here that I've been showing you today. This is my favorite place to earn Bitcoin and stablecoin. This is my favorite place to earn Ethereum and stablecoin. And this is my favorite place to earn, if it'll load up, Solana and stablecoin, right? That's a higher interest rate than it usually is for the Solana pool. I'd say the Solana is usually more about 150 to 180. Today it seems to be higher than usual, so nonetheless, that's still pretty damn good. And then those are the trainings right there. And I want to ask you real quick, of those 3, which one are you the most excited about? Be the bank, be the house, be Coinbase. Which one excites you the most? And it actually does matter, because I'm going to show you how to kind of best go through these trainings based on that. How do you know what site to use? Can you see me? Can you guys see me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me or see me? Can you guys hear me? So a call just came through, and that usually fucks with the audio. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, a call just came through. And every time that happens, it like makes the audio go away, is what I've learned. So I had to restart the app real quick. It looks like the answers that I got were CB, so that was Coinbase. That figures. So in my opinion, the best way to go through this training is to go through, don't skip the intro, please, for the love of God. This is free Bitcoin right here. Don't skip these steps, just do them. They'll take you maybe 15 minutes. Just claim your free Bitcoin, don't be silly. And then you wanna go here, set up your wallets. You'll wanna set up both of them, okay? I show you step by step how to do that, how to fund them, how to withdraw, how to deposit, how to use them and keep them safe, okay? And then whatever strategy you wanna jump to, if you wanted to go, hey, you know what? I just wanna go straight to being Coinbase. I just wanna go straight to Bitcoin stablecoin. Just go down here, and this will take you step by step, show you which wallet to use, how to get funds over to it, how to deposit, how to withdraw, how to adjust it, best practices, mistakes, pitfalls to avoid. If you wanted to earn Solana, if that was your primary thing, go right here. If you want to earn ETH, this is your thing. If you want to use all 3, you can do all 3. You'll have to use both of your wallets, because for these 2, for this one, you'll have to use the Rabby wallet. For this one, you'll have to use the Phantom, and for this one, you'll have to use the Rabby. So 2 of them use Rabby, this one you use Phantom. And that would be my best practice to do it. And the reality is, like, if you get this training, right? If you get this training and you know absolutely nothing about any of this, you can set up your wallets and go straight to the Be the Coinbase trainings, and you can have an active Be Coinbase position probably within an hour or 2. I mean, put a 1 in the chat. Is that fast enough for you to be able, is that fast enough for you? Is that good? Being able to go from newbie to having an active Be Coinbase position, like earning Bitcoin stablecoin within like 2 hours? Put a 1 in the chat if that's like really good. If being able to do that within 2 hours is really good. Put a 2 if that's too slow. Can you guys hear me? Oh, now some ones are coming in. Yeah, like imagine that. I brought up earlier that how much do you think you missed out on over just the last year not knowing how to do this? Some of you said One of you said $1 million. I don't know if you were being exaggerative or what, but a few people said 10,000. I assume that no matter who you are, you've probably missed out on earning several $1,000s of passive free Bitcoin and stablecoin, ETH and Solana. I think that's very fair to say, because these have been paying 100% yield for several years, and I don't see it stopping. So if you don't learn how to do this, you're going to continue to miss out on that, right? The idea of just acquiring Bitcoin every day for free, acquiring stablecoin, ETH and Solana, if you prefer, every day for free, like that's not something someone should just ignore. Like that's a skill that needs to be had, especially if you can go from where you are today and be able to implement it in like 2 hours in the safest, fastest, most efficient way. Because if you go, you can go try to learn this on your own, absolutely. But you know what that's going to be like. You know that's going to take longer. It's going to be bumpier. You're going to have costly mistakes and stuff like that. This is the fastest way to do it. Learn straight from a DeFi veteran. I've been doing it almost 7 years. And I show you, I've been through all the hard shit. I've probably used 1,000 different protocols. I show you exactly step by step what to do. If I were brand new today, this is exactly what I would do. Because it's exactly what I'm doing. It's exactly what I've been showing you. So obviously this is a course, right? And I can't give it away for free, right? I can't give it away for free. Here's why. Let me tell you a quick little story why I can't give anything away for free. This is too valuable to give away for free. I'll explain what I mean by that. What I mean is this. What I mean is a few years ago, everyone wanted to trade, and I've been trading for years, but I don't recommend it. But they were hounding me to make a masterclass. So I'm like, fine, I'll make a masterclass. So I spent about 3 months making this fantastic 2-hour-long masterclass that everybody wanted. I spent probably a few hundred hours of my time making this masterclass, teaching people how to trade. And then finally I was done after about 3 months and a bunch of work, and I went and released it. I came on live streams and said, all right, that masterclass you guys have been hounding me for, I'm finally done with it. Here you go. And I gave it away for free. Hundreds of people claimed it for free. And a few weeks went by and it was crickets. Like no one said anything. No one said thank you. No one said this sucks, nothing. And so I was like, that's weird. So then I went and checked and I'm like, let me see what's going on here. So hundreds of people claimed it, right? They put in their email and they get sent the class. And what I found was like less than 1% of people even went to the video and pushed play. And I thought that was really weird because they were hounding me so hard that they wanted this. I put in all this time making this fantastic masterclass, and hundreds of people claimed it, and only like 10 of them actually watched the video. I was like, what? This is so weird. I was confused. I was angry. I was upset. I was confused. And I lost sleep over it. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And one day I was out for a walk and I was thinking about this, of course, and a thought hits me. Here's the thought. It goes, when people pay, they pay attention. I thought, that's true. I've gotten a lot of free things over the years. I almost never even open them up. But anything I pay for, I at least open it up and go through it a little bit. So then I started charging for the masterclass, about $100, I think. And people bought it. And what happened was shocking. What happened was, I don't remember how many people bought it, a good number of them. And what happened was 98% of them actually watched the video. From 1% watching the video when it was free, same video, when they paid for it, almost 100% of them watched the video. And I thought, damn, when you pay attention. So I'm like, I'm never getting anything for free again. Because even if it's valuable, if we get it for free, we tend to not value it and never get around to it, and we put it off and we don't prioritize it. But when we pay for things, we tend to pay it more attention. We tend to pay it more effort. And the reality is, the more we pay, the more attention we pay. And that's another lesson that I learned. About 14 years ago, I was getting involved in real estate, and I've been learning stuff, kind of this and that. But then there's a guy I've been learning from. His name was Joe Crump. And one day he was offering a mentorship. And I'm like, oh, wow, if I could have Joe help me with this stuff so I could reach out to him and talk to him and email him and stuff. I was like, wow, I could probably definitely get some stuff done. But the cost was $10,000. And that was, that was 2012. So that's probably the equivalent of like $25,000 today. So that was a fucking shitload of money for me. But I thought, I asked myself a question. I said, if I invest in Joe's mentorship program for 10 grand, because it was a 6-month program, I go, am I probably going to make that money back by the time the 6 months is up? And I thought, for sure. And by the time that 6 months was, so I pulled the trigger. And I barely had, that was like all my money. But I knew that learning this skill and getting help from someone that knew how to do it was going to be my best path to success. So I paid him. And by the time the 6 months was up, I'd done like $50,000 in profit. And then I went on to make, 7 figures over the course of my real estate career, we'll call it. And it never would have happened if I didn't pay him, because I got to tell you, when I paid him, I was eager to earn that money back, right? So I've realized that if we pay for things, we pay attention, and the more we pay, the more attention we pay. So like I said, I can't give away the course for free, because as much as you think you will, you won't even fucking open it. As much as you tell me you will, I know most of you won't even open it, and that would be a tragedy. But if you pay for it, you're probably going to open it and use it. And that's what you really want. You want the skill. You want to be able to learn how to do it. And the best way to learn how to do it is to actually invest in yourself. And that's what this is. You are investing in education. You're investing in acquiring a skill no one can take from you, a skill that once you have it, pays you forever. And you're 2 hours away from having your first Being Coinbase position open. That's a pretty good offer. So I'll say this. I normally charge $1,000 for this. And it's well worth it, right? You've lost out on more than $1,000 just in the past year, probably a few thousand minimum for most of you. And you know that you will continue to miss out on it. And you go try to learn it yourself for free, but it's still going to cost you in mistakes and pain and time. And you can do that. But this is the fastest route. I normally charge $1,000, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you, what price for this course? What price for this entire course that's yours to keep forever shows you step by step how to do all of this stuff in the easiest, fastest, most efficient way? Okay? And remember, before you even get started, you're going to get $50 to $100 in free Bitcoin. Let me ask you. You tell me, knowing that I normally charge $1,000, and we have to agree that it's worth at least that, right? I mean, this skill, you've lost more than that in the past year, not knowing how to do this. So what price sounds reasonable to you? A price that you would just go, I'm in, I'm getting it today. Tina says $100. Because what I'm going to do, I want you to get this, but it's important that you pay for it so you actually put some skin in the game to make sure you use it. I'm not going to charge you $1,000. I'm going to ask you, what do you think is a reasonable price? Tina says $100. What do you guys think? Let's say I dropped it all the way from $1,000 to $100. Put a 1 in the chat that you would get it today if I offered it for just $100. Or if you got a different number in mind, throw it in there. I mean, I'm really trying to work with you. I told you I can't give it away for free. I told you why. I want to see you actually use it. And to make sure you're going to use it, you got to pay something. Tina's saying $100, and I'm checking with you guys. If I gave this to you for $100 today, it'd be yours to keep forever. Would you get it today for $100? Tina says I bought it 2 weeks ago and she's satisfied. Fantastic. Thank you for the testimonial, Tina. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I think Tina's right. I think $100 is a no-brainer. So hold on a second. Tell you what. Tina says it was 97. That's exactly what I just changed the price to. If you get it during the stream, go over here to dailycryptobull.com. You'll get this entire training, all these videos, step by step from complete newbie to being able to do this. You are maybe 2 hours away from setting up your first B Coinbase position. Maybe less if you go extra fast. But I don't suggest going extra fast. You go to dailycryptobull.com. I'm going to give you the whole course yours to keep forever for $97. But you got to get it during the stream. When the stream is over, price goes back up. So it's a way to stop you from procrastinating, putting this off another day. It's a way to get you to take action now. Because if you get it now, guess what? You're going to acquire the skill much faster. If you put it off, odds are you'll just keep putting it off. And you know how valuable this is, right? As we go over here, we're sitting here, imagine you put $1,000 in here and maybe you add $50 to it every paycheck, right? So what is that? Maybe you put in, what's $50 twice a month? What would that be? I don't know, 1,200. So by the end of the year, you got maybe $2,000 in there. You're probably going to have another $1,000 some dollars, half in Bitcoin, half in stablecoin, just by letting it sit over here passively. This is not something this is something that you really truly are missing out on. A skill that you need to have. So I'm going to be on here for, 15 more minutes or so. Just go over to dailycryptobull.com. You'll get the entire training for $97. But after that, it goes back up to $1,000. $97, what's that? Cost of a few beers at a baseball game? Most people don't hesitate to drop $100 on a few beers at a baseball game. And what's the return on that investment? Nothing. A hangover. Right? People, $100, $97, that's nothing today. Are you going to invest in yourself? Are you going to acquire a skill? Let's think of it this way. Let's think of it this way. Like I was showing you, if you do these first few steps, which will take you maybe 15 minutes, you're going to get somewhere between $50 and $100 in free Bitcoin before you even start the training. Well, that pays for most or all of it, the whole course right off the bat. And then you get into the training, right? Let's say you go over here, right? And let's say you put $1,000 in here, right? At this kind of interest rate, how long before, let's see here, $1,000 times one, we'll just say 100. Well, we'll go with the 1.5. Okay. All right, that's $1,500 over the course of the year. Let's do this. Let's just call it 100%.